Hey everybody, Brett Rice, coreVISION Financial Group, coming to you today with another episode in our series on financial topics. Today we'll be joined by Beau Browning, partner here at coreVISION, to give us the 2023 State of the Firm update, where we'll talk about what's going on at coreVISION. So Beau, thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Brett. I'm excited to be here.
It's been a minute. We haven't done a video in a little while.
It has. I think it's been since the Social Security one, maybe in the fall. Excited to be back, chat about the firm and changes that we've had, and so yeah.
So give a quick intro for yourself in case there's somebody watching for the first time and doesn't know who you are.
Okay. Beau Browning, partner here at coreVISION Financial Group. I've been in the industry now for 18 years. I can't believe that is true. I just turned 40 this year. Got two little girls at home. One's 5.5, Michaela, and Capri had just turned 2.
So today, this is annually, we do a state of the firm to where one of the owners comes on the podcast and kind of walks through, hey, what's going on, any changes, anything like that. We got any changes going on here, Beau?
We got some big changes. This is probably one of the biggest updates we'll have as we transition through a corporate status to an RIA, direct registration with the SEC. So we'll talk about that.
Yeah, so that's big changes, right?
Yeah, big
There's
changes.
a lot of different stuff that goes into that, and we'll get into that today. And, you'll bring us all up to speed so we all understand what's going on.
Yep, happy to do so.
Okay, so if you talk about moving from a corporate RIA to a hybrid RIA, what's that mean?
Okay, so there are two ways to register in our industry. You can have a direct affiliation with a broker-dealer, which would put you under the corporate structure, or you can be direct registered with the SEC, which would be considered either full RIA status or hybrid, as in our case, RIA status. So for those wondering, RIA means Registered Investment Advisor. Currently, under a corporate structure, we are all considered investment advisor representatives of LPL Financial. And then you have an IRA.
Yeah.
So our business is full of I's and R's and A's, apparently. So yeah, that can be confusing. But what isn't confusing is the nice part is LPL is still our broker-dealer for who we run our product and our platforms through. Though all assets remain held at LPL, we still have access to their back-office administration, we still utilize some technologies that they provide. Statements remain the same, online access remains the same, and LPL, most importantly, remains our clearinghouse. And what that is basically our banking institution. They will accept checks written to them. They will handle all EFT and direct deposit, ACH.
Okay, so as far as the, we'll say the mechanics of it, the way it works, nothing's changing.
Nothing's changing that way. On the surface, it appears as though really nothing is changing. The biggest change that we are all going through is a compliance change. So when you are under a corporate umbrella, you do your compliance through the broker-dealer. They do annual audits, give you pointers on what the SEC, FINRA governing bodies are looking for. Now that we will be direct registered with the SEC and FINRA, we will have our own chief compliance officer. We've hired Grant. That's another change. Yep. In order to make this change, we have to have an in-house compliance officer. We have that now in Grant. He will be linked directly to FINRA and the SEC, along with a technology overlay, which will help him do his business more efficiently on the compliance front. So just as LPL has a technology overlay to do it on the corporate structure, we have to implement and hire one on this end.
So then as far as somebody has money here with us, whether it's in a brokerage account or a managed money account, right? That's going to be where the differentiation starts coming in,
Yep.
Right? So let's talk about managed accounts now and what managed accounts have looked like historically.
Yeah. So there are, on a corporate side, we have availability to brokerage accounts, managed models, or an independently managed model, which is, what we like to do. We like to handle the construction and management of those portfolios. The problem on the corporate side, the restriction there are account minimums for all of those model types. There's distinction between a managed model actively traded by a third party or a managed model managed internally by us. And there's some cost differentiation there. The nice part is, in all those types of advisory accounts moving forward, they'll be streamlined. There are no account model, there's no account minimums. We aren't going to use a third-party model manager, but that doesn't mean that we can't implement those same funds in a model that we manage. We'll be able to handle the rebalancing, the distributions, the contributions, and what's important for the client is that saves a cost of an overlay fee that LPL would call the program fee. We're able to mitigate that by us doing all of that rather than the third-party fund company.
Yeah, so we'll have more control over not only the funds in all the managed model funds, but also the activities inside there.
That's exactly right. So we might be able to, on non-qualified accounts, for an example, we will have a little bit more control over tax loss harvesting because we're not using a model managed by a third party. And again, I want to stress, not everybody has a model managed by a third party. We have lots of dollars that are already in an account type that are managed by us. Those accounts in this transition don't actually even change account number. Right. The client just has to sign an investment advisory agreement again, acknowledging that we are making this change to do compliance direct with the SEC.
Yeah, I think as we've gone through this, everybody's getting educated on the differences and everything. When you start to find out the new model, the SWIM platform and the flexibility and the open architecture that's there that allows you to hold different asset classes in there as opposed to the old, managed money models.
Yeah.
Where it was, here's the program.
Right.
And you just had to do that. And if you wanted to do something different, you had to open a second account or a third account or...
That's exactly right.
Yeah. So
there will be a streamline. Our business will be a little bit more simplified because we will be able to streamline those accounts into one account type. We will have, more freedom, flexibility, and autonomy over those investment decisions. And should you want to deviate from what that model pattern is, you can do so.
Yep.
And there are going to be times we want to do that and take advantage of market moves when we want to, have more cash on the sidelines, or we want to have more large cap growth than mid and small caps in the portfolio. We have the ability to do that, whereas in a managed model by a third party, we lose that control.
Yeah, we have no
and
flexibility.
So gaining that control back on those accounts is important to us. Again, I stress some already had that. Those will just need an investment advisory agreement signed. But those that didn't and those that had managed models were able to not only eliminate a cost, but create efficiencies out of that.
When you're making this business decision to, hey, should we stay corporate? Should we move RIA? Kind of, from the client's perspective, where are the benefits in it for the client when we're looking at that?
Yeah. And I'll start at the beginning because this decision is normally made by most advisors when they hit $100 million under management. As a firm right now, we sit a little over $300 million under management. We didn't necessarily actively procrastinate the change, but we have for some time been able to make the change. We haven't done it because it is a big undertaking. You got to have forms signed by everybody. Benefits to the client include more freedom and flexibility on those investment models. They can utilize an a coreVISION model, or we can go completely rogue and own, individual stocks, municipal bonds, whatever it is that is tailored to that client's needs. There's just more freedom and flexibility there. The second thing I think will become important down the road after we get beyond this change is there will be more third-party software available to us. We can implement different software that we don't have access to today that either integrates with LPL ClientWorks, some of it might not, but if we find it beneficial to our clients and delivering a great client experience, we want to know that exists and that we're able to utilize something like that down the road, especially if it enhances the client experience. I just wanted to make sure I also go over that bringing compliance in-house, I think will help clients feel as though we have and know that we have a direct link with the SEC versus the corporate route, which is an audit done not by the governing body. Now our audits are going to be done by the governing body. Brett, I also think like the simplicity of having and most accounts on the same platform long term will create a better ease of doing business with coreVISION. It's not there's 17 different buckets of account types. There's one account type. You can still be well diversified with one account type because all that matters are sub-accounts and investments in that account type. But if we know that we utilize one type of account, that simplifies it for everybody. And I think as we're going through this transition, one of the most apparent things that I think people like is the streamlining of the cost of that. So if we're able to eliminate the overlay fee on some of the managed models, each one of their accounts will be charged the same advisory fee rather than having them different because some of them come with an overlay management fee.
Going down that road, when we talk about what is the client going to see or expect to see from this change?
So, I mean, kind of clarify. Do you mean like as far as fees?
No, like their
statements?
experience, right? The statements are going to look the
Yeah.
same. The website's going to look the same. Account view is going to look the same.
Yes,
That's
yes.
where I was
So
going.
online access remains with LPL. Back office administration remains with LPL. Your statements are still printed by LPL. All of that component remains the same. A lot of the stuff that we are taking over is behind the scenes oversight and compliance. But where the benefit lies, again, is we can eliminate an overlay management fee for those that have managed model portfolios by a third party and do that in-house, streamlining the account types. Long run, our goal is to be fee only. Every account type is similar or is the same, and every fee across that entire household is the same. So you're not paying more for one account type versus another account type. Everything would be the same. I think that provides a lot of transparency, clarity for clients. They know what they're getting, and I think it's an easier deliverable for us to provide a consistent client experience.
Yeah, and we're the tether between the client and LPL, right?
Sure.
And it's still us, still here, still in the same building, doing the same thing. I think a lot of what's going to happen in this change isn't going to be seen by the client.
Correct.
But you start talking to clients about this, they get, okay, well, what can I expect? What are the changes going to be? And you're like, well, there's not really any changes.
Right.
The account type is a change, but it's very similar to the same two account type that some people had before.
Yep.
So when you start looking at that, it's like the change looks like it's small, but I think for us and our relationship with clients, it's going to be huge in allowing us to do different things for them.
Yeah, and I think the biggest change is really us, again, in-house doing compliance, learning along the way, all the bells and whistles. The nice part is we've got a third-party software and a company called Advisor Assist that's helping us through that transition to make sure that we're jumping in with both feet and have everything that we need. And so they've done a good job. Grant, as our Chief Compliance Officer, is handling that relationship so that the rest of us can go out there and be advisors. Obviously, we've got to get some paperwork signed. But you had mentioned, brokerage and SAM accounts, which we refer to those internally. A lot of people don't even know if they have what's called a SAM account. It's called Strategic Asset Manager. Those two account types don't actually even change account numbers. So again, on paper, it doesn't look like anything's changing. Yes. The biggest change are those third-party managed models, which in-house here, GWP, OMP, and MWP, which all come with a third party that oversees that investment management, charges their own program or overlay fee, and ultimately we're able to get rid of that by moving to that same SWIM, which is the new platform. We hope that everyone has all SWIM accounts long-term. Strategic Wealth Manager is what that is called. So that's the main change. But again, it's very minimal, as you mentioned, from a visibility standpoint. Statements aren't changing, online access isn't changing. It's more of an internal component. But the biggest benefit can be on those managed models, the cost reduction. And it gives us a little bit more flexibility and freedom and investment autonomy to be able to help clients specifically where they want to be.
Anything else about the move that you want to talk about? Because I think we really glazed over the Grant coming on board.
Yeah.
I think we want to make sure we talk about that.
Yeah.
But is there anything else as far as hybrid, corporate?
I don't think so. I just want to make sure, and I know it can be when we talk about some of these types of changes, because it's very industry specific. There's been hundreds of thousands of advisors before us that have gone through this same transition.
Right.
Just as there will be probably hundreds of thousands behind us that eventually go through this transition. It's a very normal thing in our industry, but a little bit of it's not the most easily understood conversation to have with a client because they're not as familiar with the compliance component in our industry. And that's what we're talking about a lot, is the compliance piece, the oversight. Grant, you mentioned Grant. I think that's a great segue. Grant was brought on board with a JD background.
Grant Reeves.
Yeah, Grant Reeves. Yep. He's got a JD. He's kind of been wanting to get away from the litigation side of law, focusing more on advisory business, and this component falls right into his lap because of his experience.
Yeah, and Grant's been on the podcast before.
Great.
He's worked with coreVISION for a couple years.
Yeah, and he does a lot of estate planning stuff for us.
Yeah.
And he's very knowledgeable in that area. But I think this kind of opportunity came available, and I think it's a perfect fit for him. It gives him a chance to be more involved in the advisory world that we're in, but he can apply his skills from a compliance standpoint and help bridge that gap for us. He's got some learning curve too along this way, just as anyone would jumping into this. But as we go through that, I am fully confident that his expert level increase exceedingly pretty quickly.
Yeah, I think Grant's been a great addition to the team.
Yeah,
we're all familiar with him. We've worked with him off and on estate planning with clients and such.
Yep.
So I think it's a great fit. It makes a ton of sense, because of familiarities and him not only being a lawyer but also already being a financial advisor. It kind of gives him that backside of okay, I understand what people are trying to do in certain situations.
Right. His day-to-day will look like, in our industry, some people may not know, but, every email has to be reviewed. Every email that went out or came in. Now, they tag keywords. That's where the technology becomes important. So that technology overlay helps tag some keywords for him so that he can check those emails more efficiently. Branch trade report. It sounds really simple, but every day there could be hundreds of trades go through here. He has to flag each one of those and verify that everything was transacted according to what it should be, that timing was key and follows the rules and regulations set forth again by FINRA and the SEC. So he'll follow those guidelines on that branch trade report. Advertising or marketing rules, social media stuff. He has to have his hands in all of that. Yeah. I don't envy that.
No, I do not envy that at all.
I think he's excited to be a part of that and bring his expertise to the compliance side, making sure that all the things that we are doing are within the rules and regulations set forth.
Anything else? How do we want to wrap this up here, talking about state of the firm?
Yeah. So we have, Brittany's created our, annual 2023 state of the firm. You can expect that out later this month, if it hasn't already come out. I actually think it's coming out later in the month. But that's just we have a printed booklet, but we also have, for most people, they see a flip HTML. And so with it, you can look at that digitally. It just gives a little insight into the firm, who we are, how we work, talks about the pod system, what organizations we're involved in. We like to do charitable work, nonprofit volunteering, all that kind of stuff. So we make sure we put those in there. But it's just giving insight to our customers as to the firm, strategy on a higher level.
Yeah, I think it gives people the opportunity to kind of say, hey, as an organization, as a business, who are these people? What are they involved in? Because we sat down and talked to them, but we're there to learn about them.
Yep.
Like when we're sitting down with clients, I think it kind of gives them an opportunity to learn a little bit about who we are.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
It's a great piece.
Yeah.
Well, great. Anything else you want to say? Signing off?
I don't think so.
No, I think you've covered.
We appreciate, as always, our customers' business. Stuck with us through lots of transitions and changes. This is, again, another, and I stress that our relationship is very strong with LPL. Yeah. This doesn't have anything to do with a weakening relationship with LPL. This is a strategic decision for our firm long-term as a best fit. And ultimately, if we are able to streamline these types of things that we talked about, account level type things, we're able to create a better client experience because the ease of doing business is just that much better.
Yep.
I'm excited. I appreciated talking to the many clients I already have, and I've got many more to come. Yeah. So everybody will probably expect a call within the next 90 days. We do have a transition timeline on this, so I want to make sure that everybody understands that whether it's DocuSign or a paper document on most of those account types that we had discussed, some type of form will have to be signed prior to that 90 days so that we continue to remain in control of those accounts.
Well, thanks for joining us.
Thanks.
It's a big event in CoreVISION history right now.
Yeah,
right?
it is. It's a big endeavor. We're excited for it. I think long term for this part to be past us, and what it presents as opportunities. Again, like I had mentioned, from a technology standpoint, are enhancing the client experience in many ways down the road. So I'm excited about that.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Again, everybody, Brett Rice, Beau Browning, coreVISION Financial Group. Thanks for taking the time to watch our video today. Go to our YouTube page and subscribe so you'll be notified when we post a new video. Our contact information will be at the end. Please feel free to reach out if you have comments, concerns, questions. Give us a call. Appreciate your time, and thanks for watching the video.